latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Atwall's Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you guys a bit of a review video on a new awning from Outdoor Revolution. So with me here I've got the Outdoor Revolution Cayman Combo PC. So the Cayman Combo is certainly a name we saw in 21 and carries on into 2022 with kind of the new polycotton look and a few tweaks here and there. So overall, it's a really nice, very kind of versatile awning designed for different heights. So for 22, they do two different height brackets. They do their low, which is basically 180 to 210, and then a mid, which is 210 to 255. So you've got a real kind of difference in terms of design-wise. So one more bespoke for sort of VW kind of transit vans like I've got with me here, alternatively more like midline vans. So you can chop and change depending on what vehicle you've got. The joy is, again, it's almost like very symmetrical, and actually as we see it sitting here, I've got a rear porch door on the point. So what if you imagine the kind of open front, it's the same on the open back. So it doesn't matter if you've got, say, a UK van or a continental van, you can still have it facing the same direction as the awning all person's facing, which is perfect because it means that when you line up on a campsite, you're facing necessarily on the view, not onto your neighbour next door, which is kind of why this works so nicely. Really nice and simple to pitch. You can check our own Atwall's pitching packing videos. Took me no longer than about 11-10 minutes to pitch on my own, which means it's great for sort of touring, you know, a night here, a night there if you really want to, or for a couple of nights. Or again, polycotton, it's going to be, you know, for weeks to be perfectly fine. Other thing to mention is that because it's polycotton, you find it's a more breathable fabric. So it's going to have a longer lifespan. On a warmer day, it'd be a lot cooler on the inside of it. And what you find on a cold day, it'll be a bit warmer as well. So you benefit from that. Slight drawbacks is obviously it's a bit more expensive than kind of its polyester counterpart. And the other thing as well is that it takes a little bit longer to dry out, as well as being a little bit bulkier and a little bit heavier. But for me, it's worth the money investing in it if you want something, you know, just the feel of it. You haven't got that kind of crackly kind of wind. It's much quieter. It sits well and just it's a different level. Once you kind of have polycotton, you don't go back to polyester. Where is it then? You've got fiberglass poles which kind of do the arches. So again, you've got that at the front and the back, and then guide lines obviously included. Each beam, you only got two beams to it, is done individually as per our video, and it's got kind of their dynamic speed valve system. So it's a really nice big opening, like on a dinghy, so you can get the air in quickly, but also get it out as well. You can buy additional ridge poles to go in the middle, just to give it a bit more bracing if you really wanted to. But a big ventilation panel beneath the window as well here helps with that circulation of air. Obviously the big window, as I mentioned, is slightly tinted, so you get a little bit of distortion when you look in, but clarity when you look out. And you've got a curtain that toggles up behind it as well to get that ultimate amount of privacy as and when you need it to. The front door as well as the back door is almost positioned sort of half and half, and later on in the video we'll also bring the camera in as well. And you've got a full mesh door built into that as well as a window panel. And the door itself can sort of go back halfway or fully open as we see. In comparison to the 21 polyester version, they've actually elongated the tunnel section a little bit longer, so it's a bit nicer, a bit more smarter. You've got a window panel built into there as well with a curtain to get the privacy as you see fit. There's a zip located on the top if you wanted to attach the porch door like we have, and we've got a separate video which we've seen of attaching a porch door and how to that. So that works really quite nicely, and it gives a much better coverage. So you can enclose the front of it if you want to, and the porch door fits the front and the back, so one door can be chopped and changed as you need it to. A new thing for 22 as well is there's now an inner bedroom that can go in the porch door, which as we go into the awning towards the back of it, you'll see a bit more clearer. Other things to also mention is fact is we've got doors we can enter from either side, so the tunnel section, which we'll bring the camera around later on, means you can go into the van without going through the awning every single time, which works really nicely. I'll tell you what, let's have a little look on the inside and talk through a few more features that kind of the Combo PC has to offer. So when we kind of flip the camera around, you can kind of get a bit more of a grasp for certainly the space inside and how it kind of flows directly in. Other things that we didn't mention on the outside are things like when you buy the front porch door, there's a ground sheet that basically comes included with the porch door, and it's a riser ground sheet, so it feels like a sewn in ground sheet, and you've got little toggle points located down here just to accommodate that. And we've got that in the back bedroom, as we can see. Full mesh doors we previously talked about, so it gives you the great ability that you can kind of open that up really nicely. That mesh part can come in the back. And what you also see, to be fair, is the fact that you've got a sewn in ground sheet now in this section. So the joys of which is that you can, it feels, you know, when you seal yourself up really nice and neatly, sits a lot easier and tends to be easier to pitch as well when you've got a sewn in ground sheet. The front lip here can actually toggle up, toggle down. So you can toggle that down if you want to. So it just gives it flexibility. You haven't got sort of trip hazards in the doorways. So that'll peg down and then you've got a nice flow into the actual awning itself. I mentioned actually, to be fair, the door is only on this side, apologies, it doesn't roll back all the way. You've got almost just straight kind of corridor, if you will, in here, but great interior height. Good space in here. You can actually get a two-berth bedroom that can go in the main body of the awning if you choose to. Like I said, you can always put one in the additional sort of porch section at the back. Great interior height. You've got things like hanging points for a lantern located on the front here as well as Velcro tabs that lead you down to cable entry points located down there. So you've got a little slit between the ground sheet, goes up and down. The door section is really quite quirky, and in fact, I'll bring the camera in just a moment. You basically can move it from left to right or right to left. So again, it doesn't matter if the sliding door goes that way or more continental, you can kind of adapt to it. And there's a nice big mesh panel built into that as well, which really is quite smart. Through the back section, we've got the same kind of idea. For the polycotton version, you've got slightly bigger beams actually as well, just take the extra weight of it. And like I said, that mesh part leaves you back into the back section. In fact, let's bring the camera in, probably the best way to go about it. So, kind of as we come inside, like I said, sewing ground sheet, really quite nice and smart. That's your kind of internal door there, so you can have it sort of rolled from left to right or right to left. And by doing that, what it means, it kind of simulates the same kind of part with the sliding door, giving you almost a bit of storage section down here. And when you're in the tunnel, you can see actually you've got the door in either side, so it doesn't matter which way it is, and then the adjustment straps are located. So you've got a big webbing strap at the corners just to take the extra slack up, because it obviously fits a range of vehicles. And on the very bottom there's a drawstring cord you might just be able to see to take any excess slack up to try and get that tunnel looking really taut. And because you've got kind of a little bit of a flap between there, the water can hopefully run off quite nice and neatly. The internal door here, you've got kind of this mesh part, so again, you will zip up and kind of keep it nice and tidy, but it's going to allow airflow inside of here, which is a big bonus. There is the sort of aforementioned additional bracer poles, which I talked about you can get. And then we've got that low level ventilation window beneath there, and the curtains to toggle up into place. And all of the windows in here have, like I said, toggles, including, as we mentioned before, the one in kind of the front awning section. As we kind of come into the back section, we've rolled that zip door away with a mesh and the solid door, and it comes in and creates this kind of little kind of area. We've got the ground sheet, as you can see, kind of toggles up to give a bit more of a sealed feel to it. And then you've got little lugs located down there for additional bedroom if you wish to put one inside of here. The door as well at the back, you can see you've got sort of two windows in there, so again, privacy if you choose to have it. And what you can also see is that you can go right to left to right with the door. Additional zip pullers are located here as well, so you can create a little veranda, a little bit more of an airflow through that if you wanted to, and we've got some photos of that on our website. But overall, really nice kind of model. Obviously the polycotton's a beautiful kind of fabric. There's the additional clips if you wanted to actually put the bedroom in the back section, but flows really nicely. For me, it's one of my favourite models, certainly of last year, just because it was very versatile. I think going forward they've made a real nice improvement to it. You've also got the flap into the tunnel section there, which can be toggled down and up as well. So you've got trip-free access at every single point. Velcro tabs are located here, so you can use the up and down lighters to floodlight into the actual awning as well. Personally, I prefer probably to use the Velcro tabs along there and have little strip lights running through. It takes up a little bit less space, and to be fair, it's quite nice, gives that kind of festival kind of vibe. Again, what they've done really quite smartly, I think, as well, is put additional toggle points located here. So when you buy the additional combo door, what you can see is actually that it will kind of, you've got a nice big overlap, so it zips along the top, and then you've got kind of a baffle that kind of just toggles over, and then you've got toggle points located just to keep it really nice and sealed and try and make it part of it. To give you a bit more of a better idea as well, we'll do a little sweep of how it looks without kind of the tunnel section. So that should give you a bit of a better idea of how it looks without kind of the back porch door on there. But as you can see, really quite nice, lots of flexibility, pegs, and looks really, really smart. And it does sit really nicely. I think that's partly down to the polycotton and partly down to how I pitched it. But I think overall, I think it's a nice model, certainly something a bit different. The fact that you can actually get obviously different heights with it, I think is a real big bonus. Just because it necessarily means you're not sort of restricted in what you've got. Other things to mention in terms of connecting it to the van, you've got different various ways. So you can use your sort of normal dual beading, so you can feed it directly into a one if you wanted to, but that would pretty much enable you to drive away easily. So I'd recommend a fixing kit into a normal sort of rail. You've got a pole sleeve in there, so you can put a pole and clamp kit into a gutter, or we've got guide points which you can just throw over the top of the van. So depends on how you want to fix it to it, be it as simplistic as simply just throwing the straps over the top. That works quite smartly. But overall, I think some really nice points. It's nice to see a bit more variance, and again, you can chop and change this how you kind of want it to be. And if the weather does change, there's nothing stopping you sort of moving the porch door from the back to the front, so you've got extra protection against the wind and rain. So overall, I think it's a really popular model, certainly was for 21. Going forward in 22, in this kind of fabric, I think it just again oozes a bit more class, and it's the fine details I do really quite like about it. You know, they've really thought about it when they've created it to make it really nice and versatile, sit well, and overall, yeah, I'm to be fair quite impressed with how it's turned out, and it's just the little touches, you know, and the extras and making it what you wanted to. One thing I neglected to mention actually is you can buy option storage pockets. So it's like a pocket system that goes down the beam. So it means how to declutter, you know, the main space and increase kind of your storage space in here as well. So again, it's another thing that they've really kind of thought about, to be fair. But yeah, let us know what you think. If you want more information on kind of the combo PC, you can check in the link below, and it will take you straight through to the two models, the low and the mid, which you can check out with the prices and offers and all the things we've got going on with it as well. But yeah, overall, really quite impressive. Certainly one to look out for. One we'll certainly have on display in some form, whether it be the polyester or the polycotton in our 30,000 square foot indoor showroom. But yeah, overall, great bit of kit. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and we hope to see you again. Take care.